to the highlights of the race. It was a busy grid at the start of the race, as you would expect. People getting down to take a look at the cars. 31 cars coming out to play, the biggest grid in the second championship. It looks as though it was absolutely even down to the first corner. Martin Rump on the Audi on the inside, Dennis Linton, his Lamborghini on the outside, who clearly went around the outside. You'd have thought Martin Rump would have been able to hang on, but that Lamborghini braked so late and swept around the corner on the outside, able to tuck into the front at turn 2, and then gradually started edging clear over the opening laps. But then Martin Rump came on strong and started coming back onto his tail. It got down to a fraction of a second. Chasing along behind, Shane Davis moved up into third place, looking really good in the 911 Porsche. The 81 BMW leading the way, but I think there'd been a little setback for the 666 Mercedes. It fell to 4th in the GT4 class before it started its charge. Started coming back through the field with young Japanese former Formula 3 racer Ruichiro Otsuka at the wheel, but he certainly looked very handy indeed. And here was a continuation of the charge. Martin Rump in second place, chasing after Dennis Lind, as you can see, getting super close. But then what happened? They came up on the traffic, and certainly the race leader was rather more effective through that when they came to these gaggles of GT3 cars. You can see Dennis Lind cutting his way through, and unfortunately the back of the pack, and they're getting caught behind not 1, 2, but 3 GT4 cars. Suddenly the gap went from a second to 4 seconds for Martin Rump, and then it came up to the pit stops. But while most of the teams were nice and tidy with their pit stops, there was a further problem for the 19 car, the race leader, because they had to have an extra 10 seconds at a standstill due to their success in previous rounds, and that meant they'd come out down in effectively 3rd place overall. Their pit stop was a little messy too, as they clattered their stopping board. For most of the field though, it's a question of driver out, driver in. The 666 car was handed over from Otsuka. And now here's the messy pit stop for the race leader. The Team EBI Porsche pulled out in front of it and then braked slightly later. Didn't matter, hit the pit board and came out onto the circuit right in the thick of the traffic. The 19 car in the real mix, and after the pit stops it was Frankie Chen Kong Fu who came out in the lead of the race, and he's being chased by Sandy Stuvik. Stuvik got very close indeed, challenged around the outside, but it wasn't to work, and after that Frankie Chen Kong Fu got his head down, took a 1/10 of a second here, a 1/10 of a second here, and eventually got a 1.5 second lead, and that looked very good indeed, because the 991 Porsche was pushing, but really wasn't expected to haul that back in. Indeed, he didn't. In the GT4 class, it was 81 BMW all the way, with Ducati bringing it home. It looks a little bit loose there as it comes down to the first corner of the circuit. He got ahead of the 666 Mercedes, or it was in the first into the race, and he simply stayed there, much as Frankie Chen Kong Fu did in that number 3 Absolute Racing Audi. Stroked it home towards the end of the race. The challenge from Sandy Stuvik was expended, it was all used up. He did come closer to the tail of the car, but really for Frankie Chen Kong Fu, as he swept through the last corner for the final time, you can see the checkered flag. He backed off 0.8 of a second between first and second. 2 very happy crews, but still lights flashing on the 19 Lamborghini, because Martin Kontrich managed to overcome that 10-second penalty in the pits and bring it home in 3rd place for yet more championship points, just ahead of Nick Foster. But the winners today, Frankie Chen Kong Fu and the driver who started, Martin Rump. Can they do the same tomorrow?